Hey family, God bless you guys. So I want to share this message with you guys that the Lord gave me recently. I had this dream, and this dream instantly reminded me of Revelation 12:17, in addition to the fact that He has been sending a lot of people for me to minister to, and everybody that I've been ministering to has been saying exactly the same thing, that they're going through a lot of struggles right now. And long story short, it comes down to the fact that we're going through this testing period. And in this testing period, God is separating the wheat from the tares, and He's going to grow the wheat. Like, you're either in this testing period, you're either going to come out as gold, as refined gold, or you're going to be, or it's going to push you away. You're going to rebel and be pushed away, and it's going to be that clear line of separation. But in this testing period, many of us are experiencing many difficulties, struggles, and obstacles, as the enemy is doing whatever he can to trip us up, to stumble us, to put obstacles in our way, to just to make us look like fools, steal our ministries, steal our power, whatever he can. He's just throwing everything at us. And it instantly reminded me of Revelation 12:17, which says, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ." And as we know, the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. So, in this dream that I had, the part I want to share, which was around the second half of the dream, I was in this room of this house that I was in, and I saw this woman sneaking around in this room, and she was going through someone's possessions, and I believe someone's possessions represent each person in the body's possessions, spiritual possessions, or even material possessions. And she was either planting something or she was stealing something. So as we know, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he likes to plant seeds of wickedness. So she was, or also plant traps. So she was searching through like these pictures, like there were pictures laid out on the table, and she was searching through these pictures. So I could see in the room as though I was in the room, but I wasn't in the room. So I know I was in the spirit at this point. And then she left the room, and I went out of the room as well, and I saw that she was meeting up with some guy that was there with her. So I knew that this woman was, or this person was being kicked out of the house. And I believe that it has to do with Satan being kicked out of heaven, not being thrown down to the earth. As we know, in Revelation, the angels say, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth," because Satan gets thrown down, and he's angry because of that, and he's just causing havoc to everybody on the earth. So I then was talking to my coach, and I believe the coach for me represents Jesus. So I was talking to my coach, and he was telling me that somebody had tried to set him up in this trap. So I knew that the person that was setting this trap, or trying to set this trap, was someone that I knew, some guy that I knew. And I went over to pick up some things that he had left in the house. So I was going to go take them over out to him, because I knew that he was getting kicked out of the house too. So I went over to this window and I saw that there was this ledge and it was covered with leaves. And I remember that I would jump off of this ledge often to get down to the ground. So I ended up just jumping down off of this ledge again onto the front lawn. So I saw that the guy that I knew that was being kicked out's car was sitting in the front on the in the street, parked on the side of the street. So I walked over to it, but I noticed that there were policemen standing around it, and the windshield was all smashed in. And I then knew that the guy had said something about there were these big dogs that did this damage to the car. And I knew that they were these huge, these very big dogs. Like I saw a vision of these dogs. So then I went to go out and, or I went to go put his things rather into the car. But I noticed that the inside of the car was completely stripped. Like there was nothing in it. There weren't any seats in it. There was no console in it. Nothing. The only thing that was left of this car was the exterior frame of the car. So I then went in, like I looked over and I saw that there were some more policemen standing in on this, I guess in front of the house somewhere, like the front lawn. And I knew that they had came as part of this trap, and that this guy had set this trap up. Like I was saying, he had set this trap up against the coach, and I knew that he had did this because he was angry with the coach about something, and he was trying to catch the coach, or catch him in like a lie, but it ended up backfiring on him somehow, and that's why he was being kicked out. So the whole point of this was, what the Lord gave me understanding of was that he was speaking about the body, the individuals, everybody of the body, the bride, and the things that the enemy is sneaking around doing, trying to set these traps up, and trying to stumble us up, trying to, in a sense, expose us in a bad light, so that it'll throw us off track in our own ministries and keep us from being able to pull lost sheep and pull non-believers into the direction of Jesus Christ. So I wanted to come on and just warn about that, make everybody aware to don't fall for the bait. When, there are people out here that is very clear, that I see all the time, that come on my channel, making comments, trying to push you to argue with them, trying to bait you to step outside of the character of Christ that we are growing into, trying to get us to step out of the light and step out of the spirit and walk in the flesh and jump back at them in an angry way, or to mess us up in our words, trying to get us to trip up in our words, so that we look foolish to someone that is a non-believer or even a baby Christian. So we have to be aware of that, have to have discernment about that, and don't take that bait, don't fall for that bait. Always stay in the spirit. Always, there are times, what I've learned is that there are times for you to reply to someone, and there's times for you not to reply to someone, to just ignore that. And God will give you that discernment for you to see and he'll give you the words to speak to that person of his through his word, not through your words, because our words will not be correct. Our words will come out wrong, and it'll be ugly. But if you speak, reply to that person in love through God's word, then one, that's our weapon. That's our weapon that we use to fight, and that'll also keep you in your armor. It'll keep you in the spirit, and it'll keep you in your armor. So 2 Corinthians 6:3 says, we put no stumbling block in anyone's path, so that our ministry will not be discredited. So that is something that we want to stay grounded in, that we want to stick to. We want to stick to not putting any stumbling block in anybody's way, so that we will not be discredited. So we won't give anybody room to blame us, to blame God through whatever mistake we made. And we want to pray that God keep us from that bait, as Psalm 140 verse 4 says, keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from violent men who have purposed to trip up my feet. And then just a word for those who seek to trip us up. Matthew 18:6 says, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a heavy millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea. So God does not play any games with that. He takes this very seriously, and as teachers and things like that, we know that we are held to a higher standard. So you have to make sure that you are always keeping yourself in check, always making sure that you are speaking correctly from the word, that you are not leading anyone astray. Always pray about that God keep you from being led astray and from leading anybody else astray. I pray about that all the time, especially because I make these videos, so I know God holds me to a high standard. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Keep your eyes open. Look to the skies. Look to the heavens, should I say. Always seek God first. Seek the kingdom first. And his righteousness, God's righteousness, and all these things will then come after that. I love you guys. God bless you. And I'll talk with you soon. Jesus is the only way.